Welcome to the Back 9 Six-Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 40 of the Back 9 Six-Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Before I get... Oh, go ahead, do that.
Yeah, I went a little different route tonight. I got a Diet Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
He didn't have any Diet Coke in the house. I drank it all this weekend.
I don't know why I just got so excited for Diet Dr. Pepper.
Dude, underrated diet drink. It tastes just like the actual Dr. Pepper. This and Diet Mountain Dew, as far as like if you're trying to match taste with the real thing, probably the closest.
Yeah, I've always heard that as well. Anyway, that threw me off, but I was going to say, before we get to, I'm going to give you some time to eulogize the 2023 Packers.
Yeah.
Time out before we do that. I got to do the virtual golf experience this weekend, and I haven't hit into like a screen or a launch monitor like that in probably like 10 years, like when I was working at Golf Galaxy.
It's fun.
It is wildly better, like remarkably better.
Yeah, I think if you hadn't done it in a while, you're probably thinking of like, the Golf Galaxy one that was like kind of shitty.
Yeah.
They're way better now.
Dude.
Even the shitty ones are better than what we had.
Yeah, so Nick and I
10 years ago.
Nick and I went to a place called Bonus Golf down in Miami Town, which is out west from downtown Cincinnati, if you're unfamiliar with the region. Small little place next to like a hitting cages or whatever. I mean,
that's where it's at, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's what I thought it was at, but I wasn't. I'd heard a couple different locations, but
yeah. And basically just like an old garage, basically, they turned into a 4 hitting bay thing. You reserve by the hour or whatever, typical. They've got alcohol on site. You can bring your own food and non-alcoholic drinks. It was sweet. We did it was a 2-man scramble, Torrey Pine South. You know, got the farmers this week.
It scratches an itch, though. That's
Dude.
like, it does.
It scratched an itch and then made the itch worse.
Like it's like poison ivy just keeps spreading.
Yeah, because I just want to play. I want to go back. I want to play actual golf now.
I know.
There's still snow on the ground, unfortunately. But
I know. I don't want to rub it in too much, but I'll be playing actual golf before you here in the next 3 weeks.
Stupid Mexico, whatever. It's fine. I'll send you snow pictures every day.
Good.
You can send me beach pictures.
I do. It does. I mean, it does get you a little more worked up, but it's. I like it. I really do. I did it on Friday out at SGN. It's just a nice, like, it feels good to just have a club in your hands.
Yeah. And I was surprised with how well the putting worked on it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Like, once you get a feel for, like, what the speed is, it's pretty easy to quickly kind of dial it in.
That and, like, knowing how far the screen is from, you kind of got to estimate. You're like, okay, the screen's 7 feet away. It's like, if you have 4 feet, you do not need to hit it to the screen.
Right.
Like,
Honestly, I thought chipping was harder because you don't have to hit the screen with chipping either.
No, you don't. Not necessarily.
Like,
you don't, depending on how far the chip is.
Yeah. So that was kind of a little bit tricky at first. We made a bogey in the first because of that.
I think with chipping, too, is specifically, say, like inside 40 yards, a lot of that's feel. And if you're not, like, feeling out, like, okay, I can see how far away it is, I think that makes it harder, too.
Yeah, I think that because you have like a feel in your head of about how far you or how you accelerate depending on the shot. But you're right, but
you're looking at a screen that's 7 feet in front of you.
Yeah, inside 100 yards, I for sure rely on just like my eye and depth perception to like hit the shot. Yeah,
but it does help you like make you feel it in your swing more than just visually, right?
Yeah,
which is a good thing. You should, a lot of pros they do visualize it, like okay, I can kind of feel it out, but then they know where in their swing. It's like, okay, if I'm trying to hit it 60 yards, here's where I need to go.
Yeah.
If I'm hitting it 80 yards, like that is a good skill to build. So it does work on that.
Yeah. So after we were done, we had a little bit of time left in the bay. So we started playing the back 9 at Augusta. And on 13, I didn't hit a good drive. So I had to lay up and I had like 60 yards. And I thought I hit like a money wedge, like it was going to just be in. No, it was in the middle of Rays Creek. It was like I hit it like 40 yards.
Did the swirling winds get you?
Yeah, something got me.
Oh,
yeah. But no, that was a blast. We got to figure out. I'm hopeful that they'll do these little 2-man scramble things, kind of like
because I want to get in the next one.
Yeah, as the season goes on for the tour, like I think they might line it up, obviously with the course of the week or whatever.
That'd be awesome.
So I have to get a group of us out there and do something like that.
And it's so easy. Like you could easily find 10 teams. Like, hey, it's $25 a man to play in the scramble.
Yeah. I mean, they've only got 4 bays there, so it would be kind of tough, but we could definitely get a smaller group over there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you have all day to play in that tournament, or is it just like, hey, you have to play at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or whatever it was?
No, so I think they were running it like through the end of this weekend, and you could just pick any
Oh,
time
so
that
it's
you could get
any
out
time,
there.
yeah.
So like at the time we finished, I think we were in second, but who knows if that hold up or not.
Yep.
So, but yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad you got the club in your hand this weekend.
I did. Well, the club's been in my hand every day, but this time I was actually hitting shots. Which,
not just holding your club.
Yeah, not just practicing things. Which I think if I commit to what I'm working on, I hit a few shots. I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think we're at the point in the winter where we are like, you feel like you're getting far from the beginning, but you're also kind of far from the end of it. We're kind of in no man's land right now.
Yeah.
The end of January always feels that way. But I feel like once you get into February, because it's such a short month, like you're like, okay, like golf is like maybe a month away. Yeah. You know, you just got to get out of it. January is the longest fucking month in the world.
This year specifically, there's 5 weeks in January.
That's brutal.
I mean, February is probably my least favorite, and they just threw that extra day in there for the leap year for us.
Yeah.
And but I will say the one thing about this time of year, sports watching wise, like it's my favorite time of the PGA Tour season, like
for sure
before the majors. But like you know,
I enjoy the West Coast swing. I
love the West Coast swing.
Like starting, like I don't mind Hawaii and stuff like that, but like the Farmers is the kind of the kickoff to it.
You got Torrey, Waste Management, Riv,
Genesis,
Pebble, you know, all those all kind of in a row.
It's good,
pretty sweet.
Yeah. I don't mind the Florida swing at all either. Maybe other than the Honda. I mean, I do like PGA National, but the West Coast swing's like, okay, it kind of gets you in that mood of like, okay, we're getting closer. You know what I mean? Especially the Genesis, because that's like mid-February, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it should be Super Bowl week or the week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So once the Genesis happens and it's like they're wrapping up the West Coast swing, it's like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
All right, something you weren't looking forward to. Another L to the hands of the 49ers.
I've told you guys over text, I said this is going to be the most predictable ending in the world. This is how every game with the 49ers ends. I will say, however, this year it hurt. It did hurt, but unlike in years past where it's like, oh, we're stuck, you know. And look, you guys know how much I love Aaron Rodgers. That's my guy. But you knew in the last 5 years, it's like, okay, when is it coming to an end? What's next year going to look like? You know, is he coming back here? You know, things like that. That is not the case this year. You know, now it's like, holy shit. Like in the beginning of the year, it was like, we're not even going to make the playoffs. And all of a sudden, we're in a position to win a playoff game against the number 1 seed, who, by the way, is just loaded with Hall of Fame talent, and all pros and all this. And the Packers didn't even have a Pro Bowler this year. They had 1 All Pro, and it was their kick returner. Shout out to Nick talking shit about him. Again, gets proved wrong with this guy sucks. Well, his peers voted him the best kick returner in the league, so. But this year I was sad. I was sad on Saturday night. It hurt because it was so close. And I don't like blaming kickers. And I'm not going to blame him because in reality, if anybody had a nutsack in that organization in week 14 or 15, they would have cut him because he would already missed 12 field goals or 11 field goals up to that point. And that's just not acceptable in the NFL. And if it's either not in that game, it's going to be in the next game that it's going to come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was lined up for this, I was like, this is it. This is where they're going to miss. They're not going to go up 7, and they're going to give up a score. And I knew it. I think I texted you guys like as soon as he missed it, I was like, this is over. This is over. But I will say, I woke up on Sunday and I was like, I am so excited. For one, you know, knowing what Jordan Love looks like and knowing what the rest of the NFC has at quarterback, unless something just drastically changes with the other quarterbacks where they make big leaps, especially these younger guys, or, Jordan Love takes multiple steps back, they are in prime position to, I think, probably make a pretty good run at the NFC Championship for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because, look, if Brock Purdy is his competition, and everybody's like, well, look at Brock Purdy's stats. Well, look at the defenses the two quarterbacks are playing too, right? Jordan Love was playing statistically the best defense in the entire NFL. Brock Purdy was playing a defense that gave up almost 480 yards of offense to the Carolina Panthers. Very drastically different defenses. And let's just call it what it is. If you actually watch the game, Brock Purdy got away with at least 5 or 6 bad throws that an unopportunistic defense, as bad as they are, just didn't come up with. So, but I'm very excited. I woke up on Sunday, I was like, I'm sad, but it's like we know the path forward, unlike other years when it's like, oh, look, we lost to the 49ers again. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Is Devontae Adams going to re-sign with us? You just had so many question marks. Now it's like, someone tweeted it out. It was like their roster next year, if they didn't re-sign guys that were going to be free agents and didn't sign any free agents, they were going to lose like 3 guys.
Right.
And that's if they don't do anything, like zero. And so I'll tell you, it was sad. I told you, I sat on the couch for like 45 minutes afterwards. I just was like, again, it happened again to the same fucking team. And I hate the 49ers so much. and I know, we have a lot of Bengals. I know you guys rally around the fact that we should all fucking hate the 49ers.
Yeah, we're in a really bad spot right now at the playoff. We're down to Dan Campbell. He's the only one that can save us.
Yeah.
As a Bengals fan.
And that hurts me because they're a divisional rival and stuff. But I don't really like. It's kind of one of those things where it's like you've beat up on a team so much over the last 20 years of, I've been a Packers fan now I was a Packers fan when I was like 6 years old. So I've been a Packers fan for well over 20 years. The Lions have never been anything to worry about, right?
Right.
And them winning a Super Bowl, you start looking at their roster, it's like, okay, Jared Goff's like on the backside of his prime. They're not really a team that like, 10 years from now, they're going to be still good. They're going to come a time in the next 5 years where they're like, who's our quarterback going to be? Because, Jared Goff, again, he's a little older. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback, but I do, if I had to pick a team to rally around at this point, it's probably the Lions. But I'll end on this. If I hear one more comparison between Brock Purdy and Joe Montana, I'm going to lose my fucking shit. Well, that's what Joe Montana used to do. He used to not be good, and then all of a sudden he'd lead his team for a game-winning touchdown. It's like, timeout. I was like, if anybody with 2 eyeballs watched that game last night, and we didn't grow up with Joe Montana, but I've seen enough of him, like highlights. Brock Purdy couldn't hold Joe Montana's fucking gym bag. Like, that was the one thing I was getting frustrated with. I'm like, am I the only one that sees that? I can't be the only one that sees he's a product of what's around him, not necessarily the team's not a product of him. I think his team won in spite of him on Saturday night.
Look, that's any Kyle Shanahan offense for the last 10 years, that's been the case.
Yeah.
The best quarterback he's had probably was Matt Ryan, who won the MVP that season when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's taken, Jimmy G, look at what he did with him, and now Brock Purdy. And
I think someone tweeted out there, Sam Darnold's their backup, and they're like, would they be as good with Sam Darnold? I'm like, I think so. I don't think they would be bad.
They'd be less good, but it would probably be close.
It wouldn't be terrible.
They still would have won that division.
They still would have won a division. I still think they probably would have won on Saturday night. When you've got, just their whole roster. And I know you with Bengals, and the Bengals are starting to work into that contract situation where it's like, I just look at their roster. I'm like, how do they have all these guys?
Yeah.
Like, how do you afford all of them? But then it's like you start looking, it's like every quarterback they've had, they pay $800,000. And it's like, well, if you're paying your quarterback less than $1 million a year, you can have all those nice things around them. But
Yeah.
it's going to be hilarious when Brock Purdy comes in and he wants like $25 million a year. it's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild scene. And honestly, if I was the 49ers, I'd be like, take a hike. Like, we'll just draft somebody. They're just going to be just as good in this offense.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that'll be interesting whenever they get to that point.
But
sure.
I'm no longer sad. I'm joyful for the future because it does feel like where the 49ers are probably rounding down a little bit. Like, they've got some guys that are coming up on contract. I would say that's probably where the bar is. They're unfortunately, I feel like they're going to just curb stomp the Lions on Sunday. Nothing against the Lions. I just think the Lions defense can be
that's my
iffy at times. And that's putting it nicely. But if that's the bar, their bar is going to continually get lower as guys want more money. And really, their defense is not young. They've got a couple young pieces, but for the most part, it's not young by any means. So I'm joyful for the future.
Good. I'm glad.
That's probably what you weren't thinking I was going to go that route.
No. I thought you might. I mean, if you, like, honestly, like you just said, if this is the floor, then, I mean, you're in a really good spot. You couldn't ask for much more. You're ahead of schedule with a super young team and an ascending quarterback. Like, what do you want going there?
I think I said at the beginning of the year, I said if they win 7 games this year, it's gonna be an amazing feat. So it is what it is.
All right. Well, we've only got, 3 football games left this year?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Then we got to find something else to do with our time. But we'll get there. All right. Real quick, before we get to the next thing, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review the show, please. That helps us very much. Follow us on social media at Back96Pack. We got to talk to our buddy Jay Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a blast. You and I talked after that. It's funny to hear how both we and him have like such a different perspective, like doing this thing for the last 9 months. You know, him doing the Caddie thing and us doing this, and like, you know, him now winning. So it was really cool to catch up with him and just like, he was super honest, let us inside behind the scenes a bit, got to talking about the schedule they have coming up and, how this is, I think my favorite moment from it was when he talked about how Grayson made the comment about like, this isn't going to change my life, but it'll change my career. And I was like, damn, that's such a good perspective. And it sounds like
it's an amazing perspective.
Jay's got a similar perspective, it sounds like. So,
yeah. Yep.
Well, I don't want to waste any time. It's about a 30-minute interview we did with Jay on Wednesday night talking about the win at the Sony Open and everything he's got going on as they head to the rest of the season.
All right, Jay Green.
All right, everybody. We are joined by our special guest, a return guest, the official caddy of the Back 96 and now a champion PGA Tour caddy, Jay Green, a man who needs no introduction, honestly, after you basically went viral this whole week. If anyone's on the golf social media, you saw Jay. So what's up, man?
Yeah, just happy to be here. It's in a little different spot than I was last year, but it's all good.
It's crazy. I'm sure I don't know if it's sunk in for you or not. We'll ask you that question, I guess. Has it sunk in for you?
Not really. I mean, the more we talk about what the schedule is going to be, people coming up to us on the range, everyone stops us. It's been so cool. So that part is sinking in, but like the more time passes, I just keep thinking, how did that putt go in? And like, I mean, we hit on the green and we're just like, give it a chance. One of these guys is going to get up and down. And then it doesn't happen. And you're just like, oh my God, we just won a PGA Tour event.
Yeah. And that was his, first victory in 7 years or something like that? His last victory was 2017 for Grayson?
2017 Barbasol on tour. He won twice on Corn Ferry in 2023. But yeah, first since 2017 on tour.
So let me ask you this. So obviously now you're like what you're saying is people are coming up to you on the range and stuff, and that's kind of surreal. What was like that first like 4 hours? Because you know how that goes, right? Like you're kind of still buzzing a little bit from like what just happened. What were like those first 4 hours like after the chaos on 18?
Well, I remember looking at my phone as soon as so we finish the playoff. They get us a cart ride. They take us right to the media center. Um, I remember on the cart, I looked at my phone and I think I had something like 250 messages. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Um, and then we get to the media center, and then that's when they do the interview with me. And once that was done with, I was like, gosh, I'm so thirsty. Uh, I just want a Diet Coke because I love Diet Coke. And my
Heck
boss
yeah.
Grace and Grayson, being sober, he's a big Diet Coke guy as well. So I was like, all right, my task is to find us Diet Cokes. So I go and I find us two Diet Cokes, and I go in there and he's talking with the media. I was like, gosh, I can't go in there and interrupt. So I just kind of sat off to the side, and a text popped up from Sarah that was like, hey, get on the FaceTime. Because my dad, my brother, Sarah, my best, well, Cam, one of my good
Yeah.
friends,
Yep.
Cam Lau. Um, they had a group FaceTime that I didn't know about, but they did that Friday on our back nine, all 18 holes on Saturday, and then all 18 holes on Sunday.
That's
And
wild.
they were having some fun. So I got on and was just talking with them. Um, just couldn't believe it. Sarah was with her parents, so my mother-in-law and father-in-law were on as well. But just talking with them, caddies, players leaving, coming up to me, congratulating me. So it was pretty cool. Very cool. Um, then after he finished up, we went in the locker room and just kind of took a breath and was just like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Get the locker all cleaned out. They had a limo for us. So we got in the limo. They took me back to the park where we parked. Um, then they took Grayson and his fiance, Christiana, back to their hotel. So we got that. Then I was like, I got a 10:30 flight tonight, and I'm going to LA tonight, and I'm like, I need to go back and shower. So I went back, showered, and like I hadn't responded to any messages yet. And when I got back to the hotel, I had 589 messages. And I took a shower, and I was hanging out with Eric Van Royen's caddy, and Ryan Moore's caddy. They're brothers, Austin and Alex Goggart. So I was hanging out with them, and Alex Goggart had just won with Van Royen in Mexico in the fall.
Yep.
So he was kind of walking me through. He's like, dude, it's going to be crazy. Your phone is going to be nuts, but like, just try and respond to as many as you can. Just like, even if you have to copy and paste, like, just say thanks so much. I appreciate it, and I really didn't do it because everyone was different. Just tried to get back to everyone, and still catching up. But it's been so cool. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, I think I texted you. I was like, dude, I almost broke my neighbor's couch because we were over there
Yeah.
watching the Packers game, and I had the golf on another streaming. It was like, as soon as it went in, like I jumped up on their couch. I was like, I'm pretty sure I almost broke this thing. Like I heard some cracking going on. I was like, I don't even care right now, dude. I was going crazy, and I kind of let the guys know in the room, like, hey. Like I know this Caddie
Yeah.
or whatever. We're and they're not golfers. I'm like, we're rooting for this guy. Like this is who
Yeah.
we're rooting for. Because they got pretty tied into the playoff too, which was kind of cool. So
Yeah.
So,
Crazy.
you mentioned the 589 messages. Any of those stand out? Like, who's like the craziest or coolest person you heard from, or somebody you hadn't heard from for a while, or anything like that?
A lot. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of, some people from high school, a lot of people from college, some pretty cool people. I mean, Kid Rock texted me, congrats. And I mean, there was probably half a dozen to 10, 6 to 10 players, tour players that text me too. That was really cool. I think all but one player, I mean, I've worked for probably 10 guys. I think 9 guys that I've worked for reached out for me that, that said a lot of nice messages like, you earned this, you always work so hard, happy for you, couldn't happen to a better guy. Like, it was cool. I mean,
that's awesome.
yeah, it's cool to be in that environment in a playoff, in contention. Like, you don't get in contention very often. And when you do, to come out on top doesn't happen very often. I mean, we're one out of 144 players. Like, it's a small chance. And to get in there, like, it's the best feeling in the world. Like, winning cures everything. I mean,
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
that,
just so I'm sure you've seen this video by now, but when he hit it into the bunker on 17, his odds went from like plus 300 to like plus 3,000 after
yeah.
hitting that tee shot. But I was like, you know what? I was pretty confident at that point because what was he like 13 for 13 on bunker shots or like
So
12 for 12 going into that bunker shot?
at that point, because we finished 12 for 12, so he would have been 11 for 11. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that bunker shot was just absolutely sick. And like I said, the guys watching with me weren't golfers, and they're like, "That seems pretty good." And I'm like, "No, that's like really, really good." I
Yeah.
don't think you really understand how hard of a shot that really was. So,
Yeah.
I think that's a good segue in. So, post round, they're talking to Grayson, and I can't remember the guy's name. The guy that was following you guys all day. He said that in the fairway, you told him show me something. Was that in the playoff or was that before? Was that 18 going into the last hole of the day?
Yeah, that was in regulation. Obviously we had a board over to us to the left. And we knew the last few holes, we knew that it was pretty much match play against us and Keegan. Obviously Ben On got up in there, but he had posted 17. Um, so no, I was just and Grayson's one of those guys, one of the I would say one of 2 guys that I've worked for that I could say that to, that means something to him. Like, all right, let me show off here.
Yep.
And that was something that we talked about in the bunkers too. Like, we missed in some short-sighted spots. Now, the bunkers at Sony are unbelievable. Like, top 3 bunkers I've ever seen. The sand is consistent all the way around. I mean, it is perfect firmness. I mean, it's perfect. So a lot of times I was just like, all right, you get to show off here. And so it was just playing into that. And yeah, I was just like, all right, we got 73 yards. Show me something here. But yeah, he's one of those guys that I could say that to, that's just a trigger. And even his coach was like, that's a trigger that he can use to his advantage.
Yeah, that's what we kind of talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on our podcast this week, but we were kind of talking about it as like, I don't think a lot of players would probably respond very well to that, but there are probably a handful of them that would be like, was this guy questioning me? Like, and use it as a motivation to hit a
Yeah.
decent shot. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you talked about, obviously you're one of 144 and you get this thing done. So when you're in it on Sunday in the final group, like what are those emotions like? I mean, pre-round, during the round, like how did you guys handle that?
So I'll take you back to the morning of one of Grayson's best friends, who I'm close with as well. He texted me first thing. He's like, "How'd you sleep?" I was like, "I slept like a rock." I mean, and he's like, "Seriously? I would have been tossing and turning all night." I was like, "No, I feel like we put the work in. He's he was number one off the tee, strokes gained off the tee. I mean, I was like, there wasn't any question where I was like, there might be a moment where a part of his game gets exposed. I just felt like his game was on where, and there's only so much I can do. It's like, I'm not swinging the club.
Yeah.
And I think the more you get in it, the more your perspective changes. Like, there is only so much I can do. Now, learned a lot about myself in that final round. First couple holes, like we had kind of downhill putts where I'm, playing like more break, like thinking like, hey, let's like lag this
Nestle
one in there. Let's nestle this one in there. Let's just um and then I kind of caught myself. I'm like, we haven't been playing like this all week.
Yeah.
Why would we change? Like we're still sticking to our game plan. Our game plan all week was to play boring golf. Let's hit as many fairways as we can. Let's hit as many greens as we can. Take the 20, 25 footers. You're going to make one of them. You're going to make some of them. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I learned a lot about myself. I I was really calm. Like I wear a whoop. My heart rate was really consistent up until when he made that putt. Like I was like 110 to 120 when he made the putt. My heart rate spiked to 149. Uh, but that's I've found the calmer you can be, and like you see, I think Tiger and Stevie were an outlier. Like they thrived on that adrenaline.
Yep.
But they, like, if it went the other way, they were never like down in the dumps. Like some players can, that's just a small percentage. Like I found that if I can keep my guy like this and just keep that heart rate the same, try and have no stress,
Yeah.
I think it keeps the momentum going, keeps your energy the same. Um, yeah, it's kind of what worked.
So let me ask you this. So you had that moment. I will say this. I loved your interview afterwards. So
Thank you.
did you say why not us to him on the green, like when you guys were reading that putt? Because if you did, that might be the coolest thing
It
that
was
I've
more
ever
so,
heard.
it was when we were walking up. As soon as he hit it and it finished over there, and he was like, "All right, one of these guys is going to get up and down. We just got to give it a run." And I was like, I I said something like, "Yeah, we've been hitting good putts all day. One of these is going to fall. Why not us?" Something like that. That just
Oh, that's awesome. Because I've had people caddy, like not obviously very small events, but a lot of times caddies, specifically the ones I've had, will tend to get almost too rah rah. But like I like how you said, like you just kind of said it right, like just very normal. Like I've had
yeah,
caddies try to get me pumped up, and I'm like, hey, like I do have to swing a golf club here soon. Like you can't get me
yeah,
too worked up, right? So
yeah.
that's but it was funny. We pulled that clip from when you were on last time, and Mitch was like, "Hey, like, go through. We'll just post something." And I went through, and I was like, "Holy crap! Is this not the most like ironic thing?" You talked about in practice rounds, it's analytical. When you get in the round, it's time to be an athlete. And it kind of
Yeah.
sounds like that's what you kind of did for him, right? Like, hey, like go do your thing. Like, don't think about too much. Just kind of go do your thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw Sam Stevens yesterday. We talked with him for probably 10 minutes, and it was one of those things like we stuffed it in there in regulation where we were the last ones to putt. We're on the back of the green. Um, and I didn't need to watch Sam putt, but I just kind of watched it.
Yeah.
And when I saw he was there, it like clicked right in my head. I was like, oh, I remember exactly what this did. I mean, he hit a good putt. He just left it 3 feet short. I think he was going to miss it to the right, but just seeing that, and then I don't know if I like to think that it helped just instill a little confidence in him when I said I saw this putt in regulation. I know exactly what it does. Um, and then just picked out a spot and boom. Lee Hodges today said that thing would have gone in a thimble.
I
mean, it was
I
right
don't
in the heart.
disagree with that.
He's like, that was dead center.
I don't disagree
Yeah.
with that. I do not.
I mean, so when you dropped that in the interview after, and I saw that, it absolutely blew my mind that you had the presence of mind to like watch that putt, and then it, impacted the playoff like that for you guys. It was crazy. And then my question related to that: do you help Grayson a lot on reads, or was that just like a special, spur of the moment thing there?
Um, it's yeah, I do help with reads. It's very circumstantial. Like if he sees it and he's got it, he's like, I got this one. But I look at every single one. Um, and I tell him what I see when he asks. But if he doesn't ask, I know he's got it.
Yeah.
So there would be a lot of times we'd both be looking at it and he comes back, he's like, what you got here, bud? And I tell him. But he's always told me that I'm good at reading greens. So it frees me up too because I know that he trusts me and
Yeah.
like I can be truthful and like I've seen these courses now. So I've seen it, a lot of these putts. I'm not confident like I know every single one of them, but I've seen them putt before. So it does help to have seen them and just be truthful, tell them what I see, and be confident. I mean, the delivery is almost as important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's a good segue into this. So you said you've been around these courses. Well, if people don't know, that win was big for many reasons. Probably about 5 or 6 reasons. I mean, obviously now he's in all the signature events, right? For the
Right.
rest of the year, which includes, which I think before this tournament, he was not in the Players Championship, correct? He was not qualified for Players, PGA,
Yeah, it would have
or
been
anything
off.
like
It
that,
would have
correct?
been players would have been off his number. It would have been close. Um, we were kind of leaning that he was going to get in players, but this just, you know, solidifies that. Yeah, PGA, he gets in the signature events. Um, and then his world golf ranking went up to 46 in the world, where US
Which is a big
Open,
deal.
US Open, British Open, it's typically top 60 get in.
Yep.
Um, but it's huge too. You go the category that he was in, And we weren't going to be in waste. We weren't going to be in the signature events. Like, it's hard to get those opportunities to play in those events. I mean, you got to play well. And I really love what Grayson said in his interview. I told him this today. He said, "This isn't going to change my life, but it's going to change my career."
Yeah.
And that's huge. I mean, these guys aren't playing when you get to a certain level, a lot of these guys aren't playing for money. They're playing for trophies. And I think what that quote that he said was spot on.
I saw that too, and I was like, man, that's such a cool way to put it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and I think for him, obviously, he's now been around for a little while, right? I think for him, it's a different mindset of, and honestly, I think it's a mindset that's going to free him up, right? Like you're not
Oh,
playing for your livelihood anymore. You know, at
right.
that point.
Perfect example last week. Third round, we played with Chris Kirk and Steven Yeager. And number 7, par 3, it's like 176 yards or something. It was a back left pin, into off the left. Like, that's a hard shot to get back there. And when you can't go long. So Grayson just kind of flights an 8-iron back there. I mean, we're like, we'll just accept 20 feet, 25 feet, just short. That's just fine. And that's exactly what we did. And Chris Kirk gets up there and like back foot draws the 6-iron that lands a foot left of the pin and goes out to 4 feet just behind the pin. And I look at Grayson and I'm like, that looks like someone who just won $3.6 million last week.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
not
like,
hitting that. You're not hitting that shot if you're A, not in the century, and B, if you know, I know dead last is still a good payday, but Hawaii's expensive for 2.5, 3 weeks or whatever those guys are over there
yeah,
for. So
yeah, but it does, like you said, it frees you up because you just go out and play. You're not, you're playing for trophies.
yeah,
I mean, your job security is through the 2026 season.
pretty
Like,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
It's not bad.
it's pretty
Not
good.
bad. You throw in a trip to Augusta too, which is always an added bonus.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask you when did it hit you that you're going to the Masters?
I was thinking it when he made that putt.
Yeah.
And when I hugged him, I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, your patience paid off, your sobriety paid off. So proud of you. But I wanted to say, like, we're fucking going to the Masters. But I also know that there's 10 cameras, look, you're gonna be looking at me, reading my lips. I'm like, gosh, family doesn't need to be seeing that.
I mean, like that's the first thing. Honestly, like obviously the money would probably come up at some point. Like, okay, wow, like I just made a pretty big payday. I swear, if I made that putt as a player or on a caddy, that would be the
Yeah.
literal first thing I would think about.
Yeah,
Because
it was very first and foremost, like one of the first things I thought of.
I think of it now even as a higher esteem. If you've heard Colt Nose talk and stuff like that, that's a guy that played how many years on the PGA Tour? He won a U.S. Pub Links, USAM, things like that.
Yeah.
He's never played Augusta. Think about that for a second. Like,
Wow.
that's why it's like, obviously Augusta's Augusta, but when the fact that he's never played in a Masters at his caliber of player, that he was. I think it even puts it into a bigger perspective of like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
this is crazy. Yeah. So, Mitch, you got anything else?
Well, I was just going to ask. So, Grayson mentioned, it doesn't change his life, change his career. How does something like this? Have you even thought about how this changes, your life or career? I mean, at this point, we just talked to you, it wasn't even a year ago, and you've got a totally different outlook sitting here today.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, I haven't really thought about, what I'm gonna do differently or anything. But it's huge because now Sarah can come to any tournament that she wants to come to. If I want to go see my family, if I want to go up to Michigan or something for a week or a weekend or something, it's like just go or do, like, yeah, I mean, it's huge financially for, just everything. I mean,
Yep.
without going like too deep down, but I mean, it's
sure.
Well, and honestly, you're a newly married man, so you weren't married when we had you on last time, and
that's
now
true.
you got you got a wife. It's even more serious now.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like, Sarah was going to be able to come to the Masters for the week, but yeah, she's going to be traveling a little bit more.
Nice.
So
can't beat that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of travel, we'll get you out of here on this last question. So have you even had a moment to sit down and you and Grayson just think about actually planning out the schedule for the year and kind of
yeah, we talked about it. His agent was here, so we talked about it today. We're going to take next week off at Farmers because we're going to play Pebble, Waste Management, and then Riviera.
So sick.
So we'll play those three. Then we'll play Bay Hill. We'll take Honda off. We'll play Bay Hill. We'll play Players. Take Valspar off. And I'm not sure. I think they might go to Houston. We're going to take that week off. We're going to play Valero and then Masters RBC. That's as far as we got right there.
Well, it's crazy how front loaded this schedule is. Like, obviously you want to play at Pebble for many different reasons. It's not I don't think it's an elevated event off the top of my head, but you do have multiple elevated events in a very, very short period of time, which includes
Pebble,
also the Masters.
Pebble is elevated.
Is it? Okay. It wasn't last year, correct?
Correct. So there's now 7 elevated events left. Century was 1, so there's 8. The player-hosted elevated events, Riviera, Bay Hill, Memorial, those have a cut. The other 4 that we're going to play in do not have a cut.
Not bad.
So,
not bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I was excited about is I go to the Memorial every single year, take my kids up and everything like that. And then we're going to be at the PGA. We already had tickets. So I'm excited to get to see you, at the very top level. Look, we enjoyed the Barbasol because we're sickos. And, a Thursday at the Barbasol is what everybody enjoys a Thursday at the Barbasol. But it's going to be fun watching you do your thing at the very, very highest level. So,
yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome.
It's going to be a fun year.
It's going to be a blast. We're going to enjoy following it. I mean, best of luck to you and Grayson, and congrats again. And thank you for coming back on. Yeah. This is awesome. We'll try to catch up to you, between all those signature events you're playing in and the majors and everything.
Yeah.
If you get some time. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it again.
Absolutely. Thanks, boys.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks. We'll see you.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, so good just to hear it again.
I know. I wasn't that long ago, but I kind of forgot what we had talked about because it was a shorter interview, but it was so much fun to hear from him. And man, I'm excited for him. I really am. It's going to be, regardless how he plays the rest of the year, for him and Grayson, I mean, it's going to be an amazing year, right? Just the tournaments they get to play in now.
Yeah, the no cut signature events. You got 6 of those on the docket.
Yeah, and selfishly,
majors.
I'm super super excited to see him at the Memorial and the PGA when we're down there. I'm very very excited about that. So
Yeah, it's going to be a blast just to follow them, and best of luck the rest of the way. Hopefully, we get to catch up with him again. I kind of made a mention of, hey, we'll catch up with you here as the majors and stuff.
yeah, hopefully, hey,
he seems down. So
they get another win, we'll have him back on again. I don't think there's going to be any limit for how much he can come on if he wants to. So
look, even if there isn't a win, we got to talk to him post Masters. I just need to I need to hear every detail. That'll be at least.
We need the greatness to rub off on us.
Yeah, I just want to hear all about the Caddie experience at Augusta. So
yeah.
All right. So Nick Dunlap,
dude, he's a stud. It's incredible.
In case anybody missed it, an amateur sophomore at Alabama won the American Express tournament this week on the PGA Tour. Crazy.
He is. We always talk about, and I know this has been mentioned probably 15, 20 times about other guys. It is incredible how good these kids get early on in their life.
Yeah.
It used to be, you go to college, it may take 3 or 4 years before you really mature as a golfer. Dude, these kids that are like 16 are mature enough to go out and not, it's crazy. Look, he won a PGA Tour event as a sophomore in college. But it's just insane how good these guys get so quickly and so young. Yeah. And I think it speaks to a lot of how U.S. golf has grown over the last 25 years. Thanks a lot to Tiger Woods, right? But it's just it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing to be that good at a certain age, but it's another thing to go win a 4-round, 72-hole professional golf tournament with a 54-hole cut. So it's not like it was some of the studs had
no cut or whatever.
He's out there with Sam Burns and JT. These guys were playing the Ryder Cup last fall.
Yeah, I know. It's
wild.
It's just amazing, and it's so funny. I tweeted out last night. It was like, what were you doing your sophomore year in college? And it's like Nick Dunlap. I just won on the PGA Tour, and then I posted a picture of me at a toga party. That's what I was doing as a sophomore in college. It's just, there's not much else to say. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So a couple things. Shout out to Justin Ray, who always has the best stats and insights anytime something like this happens in golf. So he had a couple tweets last night. One, he's the first amateur to win on the PGA Tour since Phil Mickelson in 1991. We knew that. Also, none of the top 5 finishers at the American Express were alive the last time that Phil did that in 1991.
Holy crap. That's a wild stat.
Yeah. And then so Nick Dunlap is the second youngest to win on the PGA Tour since World War II, and that was to Jordan Spieth as the youngest. And then he's also the first reigning U.S. amateur champ to win on the PGA Tour since Tiger Woods in 1996.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Think about this dude's last 7 months. He won the hardest amateur tournament in the world to win, the USAM, and then he just won on the PGA Tour in 7 months.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to say. There's really no words to put on it.
No, I mean, the stats, I think, right there speak to that, where you're in the same sentences with Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, and Jordan Spieth. I don't think you need to say much else outside of that, for what this kid's potential.
I just thought it was cool. Did you see the video of his teammates in the team van?
Oh, yeah, so cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible. And the cool thing is it's an unbelievable moment for Nick Dunlap, but it's to have teammates like that, to share that moment with them was pretty cool. And I actually went back on his Instagram. He had shared the moment with the USAM with a lot of his teammates too, which is so cool to see.
Yeah.
And he seemed super likable.
Oh, yeah. And it was an awesome moment with his parents on the green after,
Yeah.
They were just shocked that it all happened. It was, super cool. And I saw him, Jay said in his interview, whether he had 500 something plus texts or whatever.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
There was a video. Nick was sitting at the press conference after he had already spoken, and it was 750, and they were still coming in. So I can't even believe or imagine that.
Yeah, but I like the route, and not to backtrack to Jay's interview, but it's like, someone told him, like, just respond to everybody, and I think that's a good rule for everybody. But I'm sure someone told him that too. Like, dude, just find a way over the next 5-6 days to respond to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he said it on his own. He's like, I'm going to try to get to everybody. So,
yeah.
it just seems like he has a really good head on his shoulders.
That's really cool. I just thought at some point on Sunday, I'm like, he's just going to make a mistake. Maybe, you get like a Sam Burns that's won before. Maybe he shoots 7-8 under, kind of just, passes them by. That did not happen. So it's just insane. And just to think about the guys that were right there, right? Sam Burns, proven winner. Justin Thomas, proven winner. It's just crazy. Crazy that he held everybody off.
Yeah, and that's what, 1.5 million he doesn't even get to see. That's a tough scene, but
I sent you the meme. I don't know if you saw it because you had a busy time right before we came in here, but it was the scene from I can't remember what movie. He's like, "You guys are getting paid to do this?"
Yeah. That's good.
Hey, shout out to who came in second? Was it
Christian Vizaden who got the 1.5 million?
Dude, hey, best second place paycheck ever. By the way,
that's a good transition because some people actually took him in one and done this past week.
Oh my god!
So they got the winner credit without the winner.
So I was like, oh, perfect. Nick Dunlap won. Like no one, no one's gonna get a winner again this week. Yeah, not quite. Well, I mean, I guess they technically did with the money. So, yeah, best second place is when you get the first place paycheck for second place.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We had JT posting last week. Finished 23 under, T11. This was good news because running through our other options we were weighing, Sung J M was 25th, Taylor Montgomery 61st, Tom Kim missed the cut, and your boy Brian Harmon was actually in Dubai, T70, and was 20 shots back of Rory's win.
I'm such an idiot.
It's okay.
I made sure. I double checked. I cross referenced multiple lists to make sure that the guys I picked this week are on. They're actually in the field. But I'm glad we went with JT. It felt like that tournament is. Hey, if you make some putts and you make a lot of them, you have a chance to win. I thought he was going to make a decent amount, and it's like, hey, if he just gets a couple more to roll, he has a chance to win. I mean, he's 23 under, Yeah,
well, the sad thing, he shot 67 in the first round, and he had a double. And then the last round, the 69, he parred 3 of the par 5s.
Yeah, I just was thinking of that meme where it's like, the guy's poking, he's like, do something. That's what I was doing. Like, that's what I kept thinking of JT posting on Sunday. I'm like, come on, do something. Yeah. Like, stop fucking parring.
No bogeys, but only 3 birdies. So that was tough. But we picked up 212,000 and some change. We moved up to... We're like 1,982nd place, which we were in the 3s before, so a little movement forward. But the leaders are about a full win ahead of us at 1.8 million right now.
Yeah, which can change in any couple
quick.
Good weeks.
We haven't hit any of these big money purses yet.
No,
so.
Yeah, this is when you could start pulling away from people if you have good weeks with these elevated events coming up.
Yeah, this one is another like $9 million purse, so still we're not quite there. Next week at Pebble is a signature event, so we'll have to dial in there. But yeah, here we're at Farmers, so we're out at Torrey Pines. Long, pretty narrow, tough, thick grass around the green, small greens.
Compared to the last couple weeks, well, this past week, and then the Century, ain't going to be no 30 unders out here. There ain't going to be any 26 unders. The last 2 years, I think last year the winner was 13.
Yeah.
The year before that it was 15. So definitely a tougher test of golf this week at Torrey Pines. This
was one of my 3 one-and-done winners I hit last year. was Max
won it last year, yep.
I had Justin Rose at Pebble and Scotty Scheffler at the Players were the other 2 I hit. And then I went on a massive cold streak. So we're going to try to prevent that this year.
Yeah, we gotta avoid that. I just want one more thing on the Amex. With Nick Dunlap winning, I'm officially out on betting on that tournament.
It's probably smart. I think there's no edge at any of these that are like 30 under is going to win, right?
No, there's
anybody can go out there and do that.
Yep. Yeah, there's no edge. 3 different courses. I told you I'm not a big Pete Dye guy, and that's the stadium course. Look, I've met Pete Dye before. I actually have. I met Pete Dye at the camping course up in at Purdue University. Super nice guy. Just never been a fan of his courses. I mean, a couple of them, but they're. I don't know. I'm just the whole tournament I'm out on. I love Pebble for the Pro-Am. The setup they have here where they set the course up super easy. The first, 3-day Pro-Am, which is, I think, again, kind of, I'm not crazy about that. There's just so much can go wrong, right? And I'm not betting this tournament next. And by the way, Vegas is just absolutely cleaning up on outrights this year.
Oh yeah.
Think about the winners. God. They're all triple digit odd winners. And I think we said it last week. Then we were like, there's no way it's going to happen again. And it's the longest shot won this year, this week. So
there were a lot of jokes going around about like, okay, Chris Kirk sober, Grayson Murray recently sober. People were trying to figure out who's got dry January, who's possibly. Well,
Nick Dunlap's 20.
He's only 20. He's underage. So the non-drinking, the no drink.
I'll tell you this: continue. If they do an AA meeting at the PGA Tour event this week, it's going to be chock full of people.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, there's something to it. Maybe a little, but maybe not. So
I might have to do a dry July or something. Here,
something. Just get the
tournament
W's ready.
Tournament ready. All right. We both got 3 guys we're going to bring to the table here. Who's the first guy you're throwing out there?
I'm going to start with my long shot.
Okay.
It's definitely a long shot. Aaron Rye.
Woo! Good God.
I think he came in 20th last year. He's a guy that, he's one of my favorite people to bet for first round leaders.
Yeah, he is. He's got some heater first rounds.
Yeah, he does got some heater first rounds. It's like maybe if he can figure out the last 3 rounds, he might be okay. But yeah, that's my long shot.
I will veto this only because he has club covers and he wears two gloves.
Yeah, he does.
I just can't get behind that.
He's an eccentric guy.
Yeah. I should also say this. Like we said, it's a smaller purse. So my list doesn't have one of the top dogs, but I do think that Xander, Cantlay, some of these guys that are up there are well worth a pick. But I'd rather prefer to save them with all the signature events. Yeah, it just makes sense.
I don't think any of my other 2 guys are in the top 8 odds wise.
I've got some guys that are probably in that like 8 to 12 range.
Yeah, I think my other 2 guys are. My second guy might be a little longer shot than that, but not too much.
All right, so I'm gonna first guy up, Keegan Bradley. He's T2 at Sony, came in second here last year. He's a good form, good course history.
Yep.
Someone we might not need to lean on at some point in the season, so I wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel bad if you didn't play him at the U.S. Open. He somehow won the U.S. Open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be kicking yourself like, I knew I should have saved him for this.
Right.
I saw him on there. I think the one thing I just because the other 2 guys I have on here, I was like, God, I can't do like 3 guys that maybe we're not save, but I'd hate to have 3 guys on here that, we could probably play later on in the year. I wanted someone that's like, hey, this could be someone that not a lot of people are going to pick. But I do like that pick. He did play well last year. So, Sahith.
So I debated Sahith. Didn't put him on my list here, but
he's had a couple good years. 22 is a top 20. Last year, I think he came in like 9th or 8th.
It was a
something
top
like
10.
That.
It was a top 10 for sure.
Yep. Yeah, so he was my second guy. I don't know. Did he play this past week at the Amex?
No, but he missed the cut in.
He did miss the cut in Sony. Yeah, I think he did. He played. I didn't think I saw him at the Amex, but he did. He did play Sony.
He almost won Century and then missed the cut at Sony.
Yep.
But this is a course where like even his length and he's a little wild off the tee, but it doesn't fully punish you.
It doesn't. And you know what I was thinking about Torrey Pines? I want someone that can play tough golf courses well.
Yeah.
Like, there's a ton of guys on the PGA Tour that play the normal stops really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a ton of guys out there that play, like, the tougher stops well. And I think he's one of those guys that has the talent that plays the tougher golf courses good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think my two guys are up here on this list for that reason. Your boy, Tony Finau.
Man, I was so close to putting him on this week. Yeah. I do like him. I do like him at Torrey because he's another guy that just I feel like plays tougher golf courses kind of well. I mean, he's not had a good run in the majors last year, but he does play the tough courses well.
He's got 5 top 10s at this tournament in his career. Mm-hmm. But he T38 at Century in a small field and T25 at Amex, I think, this past week.
Yeah, he played it pretty good.
So, I mean, kind of okay for him, whatever. Feels like he's been kind of lost for a while to me. So
last year was not good for him.
I don't think he's fully clicked in, but I would be willing to lean on the history here, and he's playing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that pick. No. My last guy, and this is tough because depending on how he's playing, you could argue that you would want to save him because he's just that good. And he's been that good, Jason Day.
Yes, lock it in. That's my number one too.
Is it? Okay. Oh, yeah. Then we. Last year, I think he came in third. Year before that, I think when he was starting to make his comeback, I think he had a top 25. When he wasn't back all the way, but plays this. And again, you want to talk about a guy that plays tough golf course as well. That's his whole career was pretty much built on that.
Yeah, what I love about Jason Day, too, is there's so many outs in his game. So if he's not driving it well, he can get up and down from almost anywhere. If he's, if he's maybe not so hot with his irons, putter can get hot and he can still save some pars and, that kind of thing. So, and, I mean, T10 at the Century already this year. He's got back-to-back top 10s at this course. He's won here before prior to when he kind of fell off. I just think it lines up. Let's burn him while he's playing well before he's hurt.
Well, and that's the other thing with him. Like, he's not a younger guy, so the chances of him maybe sitting some tournaments that we might want to play him in because he's maybe resting something or whatever it is pretty high, So he popped off the page. When I started looking at names, like going back, it's like, okay. It's like last year he played well. It's like, what did he do in 22? Like, before his comeback or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, one of his better tournaments. It just immediately was like, this might be the play.
Yeah, he.
I think he's like 10th in odds, by the way.
And I think he might be a popular pick this week. But honestly, this is one of those weeks where I'm willing to play defense.
Yep.
Like, just get us a top 10 or whatever it is, and we'll move on to the next week.
Well, and he's a guy, too, that a lot of people are going to pick, and you would hate to not pick him because you're like, you don't want to pick the same person as people, and then he ends up winning.
Right.
Because that's exactly what would happen. So
yeah. The only guy that I considered maybe from like the very top was Xander, but I just feel like you could play him at a major.
Yeah, I feel like there might be a better fit in a major down the road.
He beats up no cut events in his career, and all the signature events are no cut this year. So it just feels like save him and Cantlay for later days.
No, I love the Jason Day pick. It seems like a no brainer.
All right, Jason Day, the official Back 9 six-pack race for the Mayo Cup one and done pick of the week.
We're coming. Come back.
We're coming. Prime, baby.
Can't keep us down for too long.
No. This is one of two of our last remaining dry January patio beer segments. So as you take a sip of your water. But it's time. It's time to go to the patio. I don't know. Is it me? You went first
it's you.
Last week.
I went first last week. Yeah.
I need to give a permanent. She likes all the shout-outs, so I won't do a permanent shout-out. But permanent shout-out to Susie, though, anyway, because I get all these questions from her, essentially. She's great at just tossing me stuff she sees on social media. So, one of those this week. All right, this is going to be an easy answer, I think, for both of us. But if you were being sold as an action figure, what two things would come as your accessories?
A Miller Lite can.
Okay. I mean, come on, you're missing the other obvious.
Like a golf club, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely a Miller Lite can, too.
Okay. See, that's funny that the Miller Lite can is definitely your number one. I think a golf club is like the no doubter for me. And then I was debating between like, all right, sure, a beer or whatever. The other thing could be a cell phone, though. I think I've got a bit of a
phone problem?
Yeah. especially this time of year.
Yeah, with the betting.
Screen time's way up.
Yeah, with the betting and stuff. Yeah, I use my phone a lot for work too. Like I'm constantly on my phone. Like I just turn the reports off. You know how they send you the report? I'm like, I don't even want to see it. Like I don't want to see it because it's a lot and I know it.
Yeah, I got mine I think this morning, and this past week was like 6 hours. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's almost a full day of work if you think about it.
On the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But usually, like during the summer and stuff, it's down like around 3 or 4 hours. Like I'm doing other stuff. I'm not,
Yeah, I mean, like when I'm golfing, I'm not on it, But like in the winter, you come home and kids are in bed. You're just there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And even if you have like a college basketball game on, you're still going to be on it. Just kind of in the background.
Right.
I thought about a phone. I thought about a phone, but I feel like being equipped with a beer is probably just too perfect for me.
I'm trying to think of like what would be, if you had a third or a fourth, what are the less obvious ones?
Huh.
I feel like a hat, maybe. I wear a ton of hats.
Like, what do you mean? Like, is an accessory just like what you? I guess it could be a wide range of things or a very small range of things.
Yeah, I mean anything that's not attached to the main figurine of you, right?
Yeah.
So it could be a piece of clothing. It could be stuff we carry, like we mentioned, phones and beers and golf clubs and whatnot.
Good question. I would say my. You know what? Instead of a golf club, I'd say my golf bag.
Yeah, you just say in general your bag, sure.
Yeah, and then if I had to go a third one, I think it'd be cool to. Now that I have a Jeep, it'd be cool to be like in my Jeep.
You'd have a.
I think it'd
Justin
have been
Mobile.
cool. I think it'd have been cool with my old car, the Air Force One. It's like there's Justin and the Air Force One. Like I think that would be
sold separately.
Yeah, I always get attached to my cars. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
I never thought about that. You do get attached to your cars.
I do. I'm very sentimental about my cars.
I've never been that way. It's purely a tool to get me place to place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not a car guy, though. That's funny.
No.
I'm not a car guy, but I get very sentimental about my cars. So I think my third one would be my car.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just thinking like the Justin Mobile, just sold separately. The E-Pure Air Force One.
It's the perfect way to make a lot of money. You got to sell them separately. You can't include the car in it.
Yeah, for sure.
No batteries included either. You got to provide your own batteries.
Yeah. I think maybe another thing would be like I'm wearing one right now, the dad vest,
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's really good because we're vest people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're vest people. If I went one more deeper, I'd say a vest. Yeah.
Is there anything you have on you at all times as a girl dad? You got like an extra, hairband or something in your pocket or?
No, it's funny. I don't. I'm sure I find stuff in my pockets like that all the time, like a scrunchie or something like that. Yeah, no, I mean.
What about your Zens?
I guess if I went one more deeper, it'd probably be that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Rogues.
Okay. You're not a Zenner.
No, I'm not I don't do Zimbabwe's.
Forgive me, Father, for I've Zenned.
I don't do Zimbabwe's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think if I went one more deep, it'd probably be that. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I like that. I never thought about that.
When she asked me, I was like, man, it feels so obvious, and it was obvious. But I thought, maybe we could explore a little deeper.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a company. I don't know if they're still in business, but like I saw it was 7-8 years ago. You could make your own figurine.
Yeah,
and you could add stuff on it. I don't know about a car, but you could make it look like you. And I thought that'd be pretty cool if they were still in business. There's got to be someone that does it.
Oh, for sure.
Kind of want one now.
All right, put it on the list.
Not a bobblehead, a figurine.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Mine's gonna go a little deeper, a little self-reflection.
Oh no,
time.
We haven't gone deep in a while on one.
This is a self-reflection question.
Okay.
And I'll tell you where I kind of got it from. Not exactly what it is, but so Barstool probably 5-6 days ago posted a bracket again.
Yes.
And they asked a bunch of girls, what's your red flag for a man that you're, possibly dating or, about to go on a date with, I'll read off the list after we go through what we think ours is.
Okay. Shit.
But like, what is like if you were dating again? What do you think your red flag would be for a woman?
Oh man, that's so hard to answer because it's like
I've got a couple for you, but I need to answer first, and then I'll tell you mine for you.
It's tough to answer because we're so far removed from the dating game. Like it's hard to even like.
That's why I thought it would be interesting to figure out, and it's gonna. And I want to compare what we say, what we think red flags are today, compared to what actual like women say red flags are. Or what we think red flags are compared to what they are today.
This is a lose for us, truly, right here. This is what you've done. Red flags. I just don't even. All of the things I'm thinking about are the things that I know that like Susie gets annoyed with me for, but I don't think they would apply to like a dating situation. That's because she's married to me and has to live with me daily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Look, sometimes I have a tendency to run late. That I feel like is related to having a family more than how I would operate as a single person, frankly. I don't know. What do you have? What do you have for me?
So your first one, the fact that your physical well-being can change very quickly.
Well,
like, you could be out at the bar and having fun, and then it's like immediately like, I don't feel good, or I'm way too drunk for this. Like, and it happens very, very quickly.
That's a good one.
Because like, think about it. Like, if you're on a date or, you're dating a girl and you're out maybe second, third time and you're at a bar and you're having fun, and then you just immediately dive into one of your like, man, I don't feel well. Like you, for some reason, when you drink, you tend to get like just ill and not like hammered. Like you do. I've seen you hammered and not be ill, but like I've seen you multiple times just fall into like a heavy illness.
Yeah, it's not even that, or it's like I get the fight or flight goes off in a mega flight. Yeah. Like I have attempted to or have run home or escaped from like a party on multiple occasions.
Yes, you have.
I've never been in danger in any of these situations, but like I just get the feeling like I don't want to be here anymore and I just leave.
Yes.
So that's a real thing. That could happen.
My second one for you, and don't take this offensive. Don't put up the guard. Your love for food art. Could be seen as you're on a second date and you're like, hey, I'm gonna make us dinner, and she comes over and it's she's eating a piece of art.
Yeah, look the charcuterie board.
It's completely acceptable as a married man. I'm not going to dish you for that.
100% true. Look, if they're
like as a single man dating a woman, maybe a couple third, fourth date. And you've eaten at restaurants, but maybe not necessarily at their house. And you come over and you got a bottle of wine, which would sit well with them. But then you have like the well placed out charcuterie board.
Yeah, that's a good call out.
That
honestly.
Could be seen as a red flag by some women.
Especially. I mean, I'm sure there are women that are super into like super masculine guys. Guess what? Making charcuterie board art is probably not the most masculine thing that I could do.
No.
So yeah, that wouldn't.
I could see that being a red flag in a dating world.
Honestly, I kind of think golf is a red flag, depending on the woman.
Yeah,
because that
depending on like past relationships and things.
Yeah, that correlates to time away and drinks and hanging out with the guys, and that's not like a scene for very many women.
No.
Shout out to our wives for putting up with it.
I could see that. Yeah, golf would definitely be could be seen as a red flag.
And also, I'm not as bad as I used to be, but there was a time where I was like a pretty big health nut, and I think that could. Yeah,
like over healthy.
Yeah. Like I think most would probably appreciate someone that like.
You want
takes
like
care of themselves and isn't.
Yeah, if you're dating someone, you don't want them to be like a complete slob.
Yeah, but like if it was to the point of like it was impacting, like if we're going out to dinner and I'm like,
hey, I can't eat at this restaurant because I don't eat fried foods or something like that.
That could get annoying. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's those are pretty good ones, honestly.
I thought so too. I was trying to think of red flags. The one I put for me, I've got a couple for me. willingness to get close with strangers.
Yeah, that's a problem for you.
Noted problem. Definitely think one time I got COVID from a stranger at a Bengals game. Just started randomly talking to this Raiders fan a couple years ago at a Bengals game, the playoff game.
Yeah.
Danielle comes up and she's like, "Why? Just walk away." And I'm like, "I can't. We're having a conversation. We're he's a nice guy. We were
just hacking all over you.
He was super close to me, talking right up in my face and stuff. We went to Key West 2 years ago, and I made friends at the pool, and next thing I know, 20 minutes after talking to him at the pool, we were going on a boat with him the next day. That could be seen as a red flag, especially if think about it, you're dating an introvert. That would be a major red flag.
I was just going to say the flip side of this is me, because
you're the complete opposite.
I'll go out of my way to avoid interactions
with a stranger.
Or if we get to a point where it's we're out doing something and it gets to a point where okay, I'm gonna have to have a conversation with the person working, or the you know what I mean, something's not going right. I need to be the person to step up and fix it. I will back down from that scenario 100 times out of 100, and that would potentially be a red flag for somebody.
Yeah. So my other one for me is cares too much about too many. I'm a yes man. For the most part, if you ask me, hey, would you come do this with me or go do this, I'm gonna say yes. Nine times out of 10, I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
And for some women, that could be he cares about all these other people, and I'm just one of those other people, and maybe not necessarily the main attraction. Could be seen as a red flag.
Yeah, I could definitely see that too.
But those were my...
Man, I'm trying to think of some other ones for you specifically. I mean, look, some people aren't maybe into the dip scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Working on that.
Yeah. Yep.
That could be a red flag.
Yep.
I mean, you also are, in a lot of occasions, the life of the party, which
that
some people don't like.
Yeah,
that attention
could be,
on them, that can be a thing.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure that these red flags are about to blow my mind.
Yeah. So let's take a look at these real quick. Hold on.
And I'm fairly certain at this stage of my life, I'm probably going to disagree with a couple of these.
I will say, when I went through them, I'm like, that's a red flag.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It just seemed odd. So, okay. First one was the 1 seed. Says all of his exes are crazy. Feel like that one travels across all generations.
Yeah.
At a certain point, if you've been through so many partners, the problem's probably you and not necessarily your exes.
Yep.
I think that one travels.
That's a worthwhile conclusion.
Black shoes, all black shoes. They said Air Force Ones, but I think the girl in the video said just all black shoes, gym shoes.
This is bad. Look, I'm at a point in my life where I pretty much only buy black shoes. I feel that, yeah. It's just the ease of it, and I have them.
That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I can see it. I feel attacked, but I can see it.
Yeah, she said they're for murderers and drug dealers, is what she said in her video, to be exact.
I don't have all black Air Force Ones, to be clear, but,
this one is, I'll be honest, I feel like this is, I think that, the millennials get a lot of crap for being softer. If you think we're soft, I think the generation behind us is softer than us. This is the one that just off the wall. I'm I don't know of anybody that at our age that does even something close to this. Too good of skincare routine.
I mean, I think that falls in line with the charcuterie board thing, right?
Yeah, just very feminine.
It's a similar...
But I don't know of a lot of guys that, other than just lotion, really take care of their skin like that.
I think that's why it would be a red flag, right?
Yeah,
but I think you're right.
Though, I don't think that's anything that's even popped up, at least in our generation that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that is, diligent about their skincare.
Yeah, that one missed me a little bit.
Yeah.
That showed the generational gap a little bit. Favorite movie is Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, that should
That
be a
could be
red flag.
That's to me that screams finance bro. Finance
100%.
bro, just some hardcore salesman that just wants to tell you all about his job.
Oh, it's just
and how good
it's
he is.
Easily somebody that like thinks they're way sicker and cooler than they
really are. Yeah, I agree with that one. This is a good one for you. Cannot cook at all is a red flag. I feel like
good for me. I can cook.
No, I'm just saying like
Oh,
you have a good thing rather than like
sure.
But I think that generation, because I seeing the girls in the video, they're definitely not millennials. For the most part, outside of technology, the generation behind us is pretty useless at a lot of things. And cooking,
Shots fired at Gen Z right now.
Cooking is definitely a skill that is like not technology driven.
Oh yeah.
It's like a lost art, I think.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a
I think there's a lot of people in our generation that can't cook.
Oh yeah.
Less than the generation prior to that, right? Like our parents and stuff like that.
Yeah, options are just
it's just slowly dissipating the amount of people that can actually cook, I feel like.
Yeah, there's just so many options to get food at this point.
Yeah. And then you got DoorDash too and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah.
Doesn't have basic cleaning supplies. So I feel like that's just a single person, like a single man problem.
That's a very big bachelor life scenario, yeah.
Yeah, but like I could see that being a red flag is like you're just someone that just doesn't take life very seriously and you're probably not ready to settle down.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really live on my own for very long, but I definitely would have had like at least like some Windex and some Dawn soap.
Yeah, I mean, like in our houses in college, because that was really the last time I lived without a woman. Like we moved in right when we got married, right after college. Like we at least had some cleaning supplies. Like we always had garbage bags, like simple stuff. I feel like not having any of that stuff at all is just a wild scene.
Yeah, that's living life dangerously there.
This is an odd one, and maybe this is more of a Southern thing. Fish photos on a dating app. So like you caught a fish and you're holding it. That I could easily see how that'd be a red flag. Just as I could see how a golf picture would be a red flag, because that's just time spent away, right?
Yeah, it's the same. I think it's in the same vein as that for sure.
Claims he's a nice guy. This one travels across generations too.
Look, if you have to make a point of saying you're nice, you're
probably not.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially as a guy that has daughters. If you come into my house, I'm like, look, I'm a nice guy. Immediate red flag.
Yeah. See you, pal.
Like the guns are going to be getting oiled up the next time you walk in my house.
Oh, jeez.
Mismatched sheets, bed on the floor. So no bed frame, mismatched sheets. I think it goes back to the cleaning supply thing.
That's a similar thing where it's like
you're like a toddler.
You're hanging on to the the college bachelor life too long. Yeah.
Well, this is definitely a generational thing. Long passcode on your phone. So like longer than 4.
I could see that being a red flag.
I've got because you don't want them. They don't want access to their phone. I've got 6. I don't know why, but I've never.
I've always had 4. It's whatever the regular iPhone setting.
I could see that being a red flag though, but I think that's a generational thing. Just because when we first had cell phones, when they came out, there was no passcode.
Yeah.
You could just open someone's phone and start willy nilly going through it.
Yeah.
This one's gonna hit a little close for us. Has a podcast. I giggled when I heard that.
Yeah, that's good.
Funny.
That's good.
Has temper tantrums.
Yeah, I mean mood swings. You don't. There could be
or just gets like weirded out. Just gets like angry.
Like low bar to clear for
just smallest thing just makes him it ruins his night.
Quick trigger, yeah.
Obsessed with lifting weights. So the guy that's at the gym, well documented, I'm back in the gym. I have a very addictive personality. I'm now that I'm 3-4 weeks in, I get frustrated when I miss.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know those guys, right? The guys that are taking pictures in the mirror, we know those guys.
100%.
That is 100%.
You can
red
walk into any gym at any time, and you'll
There's
see at
4
least
of them.
4 of them there. Yeah.
Those guys are all red flags, and I think that crosses generations as well, just multiple generations, because they've always all been there, right?
Oh yeah.
So 3 more. Following an excessive amount of Instagram models.
I mean, that speaks for itself. Sure.
Goes with the gym bro, by the way. I feel like those are very connected.
There's some overlap there.
There's
Yeah,
definitely some overlap.
Yeah, I could see it. Also, the guy that has the 6 to 8 digit unlock.
Yeah, those are all interconnected.
Yeah, it's all the same guy.
Is weirdly close with his mom, which I take offense to this, because I could be considered a mommy's boy.
Yeah.
And I don't see a problem with that. I feel like those guys are sensitive to, like, if you do end up getting married, they're sensitive to, like, what a woman actually has to deal with in a home and stuff like that.
Sure. I mean,
But,
I guess
like,
it depends on
weirdly
what
close?
level. Yeah, what is weirdly? I need to know what weirdly means.
Like, I don't think me and my mom are weirdly close.
No. But, like, depending on how someone would define that is what I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
Before I can make a judgment on this.
Like,
this red flag.
like your mom knowing your sex life, I think that would be considered, like, weirdly close.
Yes.
But I bet there's that. I think that's more of what they're talking about. Like, the mom, you go over your parents' house and the mom corners the girlfriend and is like, hey, he told me this is happening in the bedroom. Like, I'm telling you, there's guys out there like that, though. There are, 100%.
Yeah, that's
like a true mommy's boy. Like, mom knows everything about his life, everything going on in their relationship. Like, yeah, I think that's more what they're talking about. All right, last one. This might be the best. I don't know why I laughed at this one so much. Guy who plays guitar when no one asks.
because that's funny.
He's so good. It's so good. Oh, the guy that just busts the guitar out at the house party. It's like, dude, no one wants to hear you play guitar. We got a speaker over here.
It's like a real life Andy Bernard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is a red flag. Because that to me means they constantly want to be the center of attention.
Yeah, and there's several in that list, I think, that are along that line.
Yeah, like very self-centered.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was all pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. I could definitely see transporting myself back in time to dating days that,
You look at it and you're like, yeah. Yep.
But yeah, it's just so hard to think about.
I would love to do a list for, like, women red flags. They're drastically different, obviously.
For sure. Yeah.
But maybe
I think it would be, I don't even know if I'd be able to get to that many, probably.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I would probably have, like, a list of, like, 8.
Yeah.
And speaking of the mommy's boy, a daddy's girl, like, overly daddy's. Look, I'm married to my father-in-law's favorite daughter. It's a tough gig. It's not that big of a red flag for me. It wasn't a big, but it's a tough gig. You're held to a higher standard. You definitely are.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll like.
You gotta watch out. That's gonna be your future. Watch out for that in your future.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to do a list.
Yeah.
Of red flags for women. I'm sure that'll go over well in our houses.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and opt out, unsubscribe from that episode. Man, all right, well, that was a good one. The Barstool brackets have brought
brackets.
some heat the couple times we've done this.
Those are good. Those are good.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this week. Next week, we got to figure out what's going on. I know we do have a special guest.
We do. We got another interview next week. That'll be. We'll tease that one a little bit once we're done with that on Wednesday.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I know you're traveling, so enjoy your golf.
Yeah, not quite. I go. Let's see. I leave February 8th.
Oh, that's the week we have to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Going to Cabo. Gonna watch the Super Bowl on the beach.
That'd be good.
I'm gonna play golf on Super Bowl Sunday. It's gonna be a great Super Bowl Sunday.
I played golf on Super Bowl Sunday once. It just so happened to be my wife's 30th birthday as well, and I never hear
when was
about
that? Was that like 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember that. I think we all played on.
Yeah, because I joined. It was the year that I joined.
Yep.
the Elks, and we were excited because we had a warm day. And looking back, maybe a bit of a mistake on my part to try to squeeze in around that day, but
but I
apologies
think
to my wife. My wife.
I don't I don't know if you're going to be able to play golf up here this February, but we'll see. You don't know.
Who could say?
But I'm super excited about our guest next week. It actually falls perfectly. PGA Tour's going to Pebble. Little teaser there.
There you go.
I think everybody will enjoy it.
Professional tease right there.
Yeah.
Truly, look at this, 40 episodes in, and now you're figuring it out. You're hitting your stride.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, we will see everybody next week. Until then, enjoy the championship games this weekend. So,
yeah.
Cheers.
Go Lions. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Six-Pack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Six-Pack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.